This afternoon, I am on my way to pick up my son Thomas, and we are headed to Rocky Mountain Raceways. Not Raceways, but Raceways. This is the final season for RMR. They are shutting down because, well, development is taking over, and, well, there's going to be a bunch of warehouses and a bunch of other crap out there next year. So, last season of drag racing and oval track racing here in the Salt Lake City area. So let's go take a look and see what's at RMR right now.
Probably ought to give you just a little brief history of Rocky Mountain Raceway in Salt Lake City. I won't go into too much detail because I'm going to leave that for a whole nother segment. A man named Dick Godfrey, who was manager of Bonneville Raceway at the time. He was also a major stakeholder in a group with some other people. And they purchased a 60-acre site northeast of Magda in 1966 and began to build a motorcycle track in June of 66. They hoped to have a drag strip ready by the spring of 67. That's when they wanted to move the drag racing operation from what was at the time called Bonneville Raceway to this new location. Due to weather delays and some financial delays, $250,000 later, they had a racetrack, which included a half-mile stock car oval and a 1.8-mile motorcycle and sports car road course. July 23rd and 24th of 1968 is when the very first sanctioned drag race was held at the new Bonneville Raceway Park. This is one of my favorite old pictures from the old Bonneville Raceway Park, was this 69 Cougar funny car. But in the background you see this white Cuda. Well, it was a mid-engine car, and it used to be Big Jim Dunn's record holding car that had a mid-engine Hemi in it, and he had sold it to a gentleman here locally. Really cool picture, I think. One of the signs of the times that I found kind of sad is here where you enter the drag strip. They had people checking with metal detectors and going through bags and things like that. It was just kind of sad to see that because I remember the days you used to just pay your money and walk right on in. But things really have changed over the years, and yeah, I don't know that I like it a whole lot, but I understand it. This was sure a blast from the past, though, the Race a Cop program. It was a original police car that had a 454 placed in it, and it's been around since the days when I used to race out here. One of my favorite classes these days is the Fuel A Altereds. This particular one was running in the Pro Dragster category. Next, we have some Heritage Series funny cars, or other people know them as nostalgia funny cars. I love this category. I've always been a fan of funny cars, but these particular ones are set up to run about the same speed and about the same times as the ones from the early 1980s. Next up, we had a bunch of bracket cars that were running, and some of these were actually pretty darn quick, kind of like the old Pro Stocks used to be back in the day. Here's an unlikely pair, an old Studebaker with a V8 and a Honda with a V8. Next up, we have some jet cars. One of the fun things about this particular race is it was not only held on the drag strip, they were also having activities over on the Super Oval. Kind of a panoramic view of it.
If you're walking down by the track right now, and you can
Great picture here with me and Thomas in front of the oval. Tom, now he's older, but when he was a little kid, we used to come out here all the time, and he's really become quite the car nut himself, pretty decent mechanic. After a little bit of time on the oval, here we are back to the drag strip. Under the lights, gotta love it. Whenever I go to the raceway, I always run into somebody that I know, and this gentleman with the stunning mustache is an old friend I used to work with at one of the high schools, former football coach Sam Aloya. I don't know what the class is called anymore, but I used to call it Super Stock, and they definitely had some of those cars there. Usually they pull a wheelie. This particular pink Mustang, I got a picture of that for my daughter Rosie. Absolutely love those. Back to more Heritage Series funny cars. I love these. We finish up the night on the Super Oval with trailer races. These things are off the hook. This is something they do on the figure 8. Check it out.
Appreciate everybody hanging out this time. We've been waiting all off season for this night. I feel bad for our facility, so it's going to have to clean up after this one. Because look at it. This is going to be 10. They said 10 laps. Okay, this is going to be a lot of destruction going on. We got some trailers. We're going to race some figure 8 style. 10 laps. Or 8 laps. 8 laps. Should we do 10 laps? Okay. Pass that along. And we'll do 10 laps. This is the trailer right now. This is going to be 10. They said 10 laps. Okay, this is going to be a lot of destruction going on. We got some trailers. We're going to race some figure 8 style. 10 laps. Or 8 laps. 8 laps. Should we do 10 laps? Okay. Pass that along. And we'll do 10 laps. Trailer right now.
So here we are at 12:48 in the morning, and I just dropped Thomas off after an amazing night at Rocky Mountain Raceway. This is the first time we had ever attended a trailer race on the figure 8 oval. We couldn't stop talking about it. Talk about crazy. Absolutely got to be the craziest sport ever invented, and we absolutely loved it. Great idea being able to go from the oval track to the drag strip, just switch sides of the berm, which is the wonderful thing about Rocky Mountain Raceway. You can do that. The jet cars were phenomenal as always, and the Heritage Series funny cars were really cool as well. So just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Got to see a lot of people that we knew. It was wonderful to see such a big crowd there, and most of all, I had a wonderful evening with my son. So thank you for indulging us and for watching this with us. If you like what you saw and were entertained by it, please like and subscribe this video. Thanks.